Well, I'm reconditioning my 20-something-year-old utility trailer. What's cool about this trailer is actually it folds up. And that's why I cut the wood in half, so you can actually unbolt it and it sit on those rollers there, and you can roll it off in the side of the garage or something like that. But I just leave it out here. I'm going to wind up, I painted that once with some good floor and deck paint, and I did the edges with truck bed lining. That's where, you know, it's a marine grade plywood, and it's probably going to hold up a long time. Actually, this stuff here, even though it's kind of ratty, it's pretty strong still. I never even painted the other side of it, and I didn't use any good kind of paint on it, and I didn't paint it for quite some years. It was on there 22 years. It's actually strong enough to hold stuff. So, but what I did was I got some stainless steel fasteners this time. I'm going to put stainless steel fasteners through here. This is all, you know, there was a little bit of surface rust. You could see that was on there. What I did was I took the drill with the wire brush and busted off the surface rust. Then I thoroughly cleaned off and roughened up everything. Let it, you know, with actually I use awesome stuff from the Dollar General store. Boy, that stuff really cleans the hell out of stuff pretty good chemically. And then I gave it a coat of rust-killing primer, then a coat of truck bed lining. So fairly it actually should freaking last a lot of decades. So I did actually paint this green one time before I put the wood on there. So we're gonna do the rest of this, and what I'd like to do is make something that I can, you know, I don't think I want to go 4 feet up with this little trailer, probably about 3 feet up. And I know they got these little stakes here, but to tell you the truth, I don't like the way those stakes are, and you can't really put something in here that, because there's a bolt that holds a fender on there that kind of gets in the way. I guess you can do it somehow or another. But I was thinking probably putting a bracket on here and running some stakes up from that side. And if it's boxed in with some kind of angle iron and stuff, probably be pretty strong. So, but that's the reason I like this trailer though. It only weighs, I think the whole thing without the wood, I think weighs like 275 pounds. It's rated for 1180 payload. Now, my little Suzuki Samurai or SJ413, that can only pull 1,000 pounds. So, if this weighs like, say with the wood on it, maybe just under 300 pounds, I could still put 500 pounds on it, you know, and that would keep me, that would only be 800 pounds total, and I could tow it with that little Suzuki thing. So that's one thing I like about it. It's not a very heavy trailer. You don't even notice this thing when you're riding down the road. You don't even know it's there. A lot of those things that are, you know, once it's enclosed, and even if it's a 4x6 or 4x8, it'll weighs a lot of, there's a lot of weight to that damn thing. So this thing, the only disadvantage is it's out in the open. But if you get a tarp and you really cinch it down with some, you know, trucker straps and stuff like that, you're okay. You can ride with this thing and you won't get stuff wet. It's not perfect solution all the time, but a lot of times just this flatbed thing works pretty good. But what I like about it is that you can fold it up and it'll sit upright on these things. And you know, if you don't have much room, you could stow this thing in your garage or something like that out of the way. But this thing's always been left outside. It's still good to go. And I know, like, when I greased these bearings in here, I totally filled up those hubs completely with grease. I didn't just put grease on, because as the thing heats up, these little wheels, man, they're freaking spinning really pretty damn quick. As that grease heats up, there's like a reserve of grease in the hub that it'll fling all that reserve of grease in there. It's like the whole hub is just jam-packed with freaking grease. So that's the way to grease these things. If you ever pick one of these up, make sure, even if they say they assemble it, check the way they grease the bearings. people at these freaking places that freaking assemble these things, most of the time they don't freaking do shit right. That's why they're working there, you know what I mean? So, next, we're gonna pry that piece off, and because it's rotted out enough that I can pry it off. So I just, we cut that wood in half, and bolt a couple slabs on there, stainless steel fasteners, and later I'm gonna get some truck bed lining. Even though that's been painted on both sides a couple times with a lot of heavy coat of paint, I'm gonna truck bed line the top of that thing, and I think this thing would probably last, I don't know, 30, 40 years, no problem. I don't think that wood will go anywhere with the truck bed lining on it, marine grade wood. So, now the easiest way to, take up that old wood was just to pry it up with a crowbar. And since the bolts were so damn rusty, I just cut them off with the cutoff wheel, which makes it a lot easier. So, the bolts that are going on there, they're going to be stainless steel, and I'll probably put a little Loctite glue so they don't come loose. And then you got fender washers in them. So you can see there's a little bit of surface rust. We're going to bust that out, get rid of it, and give this sucker a coat of rust-killing primer and truck bed lining. Bolt it, cut that thing in half and bolt it on there. So, and I'm probably going to change out this sucker. This is a 1 7/8 ball, and it only needs a 1 7/8 with this little trailer, but I'm probably going to change it out to a 2-inch receiver thing because it's easier. In other words, I don't have to change the trailer hitch ball on my El Camino or anything like that. I just leave the damn thing 2-inch because that's the same thing that's on the boat over there and stuff. So, anyway. Well, so I just busted off all the surface rust. Actually, I had a couple. You see a little rust through right there where the hole is, but the board's going on it, so it's going to be it's a tiny little rust through. I like using these wire wheels like that versus the nylon ones. The nylon ones wear out pretty quick, and the wire one works fast. It works, I don't know, about the same, but it doesn't wear out as fast. And if you find out if this wire wheel is not busting the rust that well, just reverse the drill bit, because what happens is these things kind of turn to one side a little bit, and if you reverse the drill bit, then it starts cutting in better. So the next step is I'm going to spray this down with some awesome detergent, and I got that brush over there. See that brush? All I do is I spray it down with awesome detergent, brush the crap out of it. The brush is, it's enough to kind of like make the paint a little rough, and then let it dry, and then we're going to give it a coat of rust killing primer, and let that dry, and then we give it the the undercoating. What do you call it? The truck bed lining. I'm almost thinking about putting roofing paint, silver roofing paint on that too. That might be cheaper than doing truck bed lining, because I might have a bunch of silver roofing paint. Silver roofing paint is some pretty solid stuff. And, I could use roofing tar, but then that could get kind of messy, you know what I mean? if it gets really hot out. So I might just use the roofing paint, because the truck bed lining is kind of expensive for this. I don't mind doing a frame, but doing a whole freaking 4x8 piece of freaking plywood, I'd rather do better than my El Camino with that stuff. But, anyway. Onward and forward. Preparing for paint, I'm not talking about automotive finish. This stuff, awesome. Totally, LA totally awesome from the Dollar General store. Man, if you use this, especially with a little bit of regular dish soap, man, you'll get that thing really, really, really chemically clean. You'll get all the grease and dirt off that sucker. And, without actually using any kind of acetone or anything like that, and the paint will stick. So cheap way of doing it, but make sure you clean it, because a lot of people don't clean shit before they freaking paint, and the paint don't stick some years later. That verbal flag is flying pretty good. That's just a 4x6 versus the 5x8, but halyard loosened up a little bit. It's flying good. Do this out in the sun, because you know, you can see what the hell you're doing if you miss a spot. But with this, it's not really perfection. It's just a utility trailer. So we're going to cut that board in half here pretty soon and get the stainless steel bolts in there. And I'm probably going to put, I don't know, Rebel something on the side of this thing or someplace. License plate or whatever the hell. Probably a couple of them on each side. So give it a little more pizzazz. Adding those reflective strips is a pretty good idea because you never know, you might have a problem with your trailer lights or something, one of them go out, and you'll be able to see that really good at night. So I'm probably going to put some more things on here to, you know, maybe a reflector on the back of each one of the fenders too, which might be a bad idea. You know, it's a cheap trailer, but you know, you're talking $2 or $3 upgrades and a lot more safety. And I'm probably going to get some bigger, not bigger in height, but wider tires that can handle more load, and they're a little more stable. Not that this thing's pretty stable because it's so damn low to the ground, but I might build a little box for it about 3 feet high, and it's going to have to be made out of steel. If there's some wood in it, fine, but it's going to basically have to be made out of steel because you know, you can't trust that going down the road with all the wind. It's just made out of wood. Not something like this weight, you know. Something else maybe, but not this thing. Well, I got this side installed. I'll get the other side installed in a minute here. But what I leave is a little bit of a gap because this is a fold-up utility trailer. You can just put the 8-foot board on it. And you can also cut this a couple inches shorter, but I don't plan to use the stakes because these stakes are kind of funky in a way. If I make something for the front, it's going to come out here and come out at an angle, so there's going to be like a point at the front versus a flat because I want some aerodynamics, and I'm not going to have it that high if I wall this up 3 feet max. But I put a couple of Confederate flags on the back. Basically, that was from a bumper sticker that had "Don't Tread on Me" in the middle, and the bumper sticker was, the glue was kind of screwed up on it, so, and I was gluing it to truck bed lining, so what I used was JB Weld epoxy. So it's epoxied on there. Then I clear coated it with this stuff, so I don't think that sticker is going to fall off there too easy, not with JB Weld epoxy. So it's basically, you know, semi-restored. I don't think I ever have to re-grease those bearings in there because I filled up the entire hubs. And by the way, I looked at Walmart for the price on the tires and wheels for trailers, just to, you know, say maybe just change out and put brand new ones on there. The same exact ones, I think they're Corlisi or something, on eBay are far cheaper. So I'm going to get a pair of wider ones, plus I also have a spare, plus these two can be spares too, but it's a good little trailer, and looks a lot prettier with those two little Confederate flags on here. Anyway, what I might think of doing is I was thinking about getting a 5x8 enclosed trailer, but I got this trailer for this boat, and this thing has got some pretty big tires on it, and it can handle 2,000 pounds. I was wondering if there could be a structure that could be made that could be, you know, bolted to this with like U-bolt clamps and with a point on the front, and I can use this as a heavy-duty trailer if I got to haul stuff up to North Georgia or Tennessee. I'm planning this all out, so, you know, I could probably just get a place for $35,000 with an acre or two on it already done in that area, and just when I'm ready to go. And I'll still have my land up in northeast Tennessee also. So, but it might make something with a trailer box for this. That could be an idea too. I think the best thing, if I was going to make something for this, would be to have like a piece of angle iron bolted through here, and, you know, weld it up to about this high, and so you just bolt a cage on this damn thing. Instead of using these stakes, because I think it would be a lot stronger to have it against the whole side. And you know, I got to see how this is going to work out, because you know, it's probably going to cost so much money that maybe I could just buy a freaking trailer already done versus, you know, making a cage for this. But then again, it's simpler that I don't have to register something else. That's one reason I might, you know, do something with that thing, because I don't have to register another vehicle. So, and you could see that flag is flying pretty good. Once the halyard kind of loosened up a little bit, it's blowing up there in a breeze. It's still very noticeable. You know, it's a little bit smaller. It's not a 5x8, it's a 4x6. But I think the pole is going to survive a lot higher winds with that thing. Politically incorrect, but whatever. It's you know, it's a fun thing the way I look at it. Fighting the power, ha ha ha. Yeah, once that halyard loosened up, the flag flies way better. So it's very noticeable. No problem.